Imagine you are sitting alone in your home, replaying an argument from years ago. The words, the emotions, the pain, it all feels fresh, as if it just happened. No matter how much time passes, you can't seem to let it go. Now, imagine waking up every morning with a sense of peace, no longer burdened by the past. What if you could free yourself from anger, regret, and anxiety? What if there was a way to live without constantly feeling weighed down by things you cannot change? Have you ever wondered why some people remain calm even in the most stressful situations, while others are overwhelmed by the smallest inconveniences? Why do we hold on to negative emotions when they only bring us suffering? And most importantly, is there a way to find true inner peace, no matter what life throws our way? Let's take a simple example. Imagine two people stuck in traffic. One is frustrated, honking the horn, feeling angry at the delay. The other sits patiently, accepting that they cannot control the situation. Both are in the same traffic jam, but one is suffering while the other remains at peace. The difference is not in their surroundings, it is in their mindset. This is where Buddhist wisdom comes in. It offers a path to free yourself from unnecessary suffering, to shift your perspective, and to experience life with clarity and calmness. Welcome to Wisdom Woven, where we explore the timeless teachings of Buddhism and how they can change your life. In this journey, you will discover 7 profound Buddhist principles that can help you find peace, happiness, and freedom from emotional burdens. These teachings are simple yet powerful, and once you understand them, you will begin to see life in a whole new way. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribe. If you find these teachings meaningful, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us bring more valuable content to you. And don't forget, drop your thoughts in the comments below. We would love to hear your experiences and reflections. Now, let's begin this journey. Buddhism teaches that true transformation starts within. It is not about changing the world around you, it is about changing the way you see it. By shifting your mindset, you can unlock a new level of inner peace and happiness. The art of letting go, understanding impermanence. Imagine that you are standing on the edge of a beautiful river, watching the water flow steadily. Every moment, a new wave appears, and then it disappears into the distance. The water is always moving, never staying the same. Now, think about your life in the same way. Like the river, everything in your life is constantly changing. Your emotions, your relationships, your challenges, and even your successes. Nothing stays the same, and this is the truth of impermanence. In Buddhism, the concept of impermanence, or anicca, is at the heart of everything. It is the understanding that all things, no matter how solid or certain they seem, are in a constant state of change. From the moment we are born, we begin to experience change. Our bodies age, our minds evolve, and our circumstances shift. In every moment, life is moving forward, and nothing can stay the same forever. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that the things we love will always remain the same, that the people we cherish will never leave, or that our happiness will last forever. But when we cling to these ideas, we set ourselves up for disappointment and pain. Because, just as the river never stays the same, the things we hold on to are also fleeting. They are here one moment and gone the next. But here's the key: letting go is not about losing something. It's about understanding that change is inevitable and that it's a part of life. By accepting impermanence, we can release our attachment to things, knowing that they will come and go. This does not mean we stop caring about the things we love. Rather, we learn to appreciate them for what they are in the present moment, knowing that they too will change. Think about your own life for a moment. How often do you feel frustrated or sad because things are not staying the way you want them to? Maybe it's a relationship that's changing, a job that's no longer fulfilling, or even the physical changes in your own body. These are all examples of impermanence at work. When we resist change, we create suffering. But when we embrace it, we can experience peace and freedom. There's a famous story in Buddhism about the Buddha's teachings on impermanence. One day, a man came to the Buddha, seeking comfort because his son had passed away. He was devastated by the loss, unable to accept that his son was gone. The Buddha, with his deep understanding of life, told the man to go and find a handful of mustard seeds from a family that had never experienced the death of a loved one. The man eagerly went to find the seeds, but as he visited home after home, he soon realized that every family had lost someone, and the mustard seeds could never be found. The Buddha's message was simple: death and loss are part of life. Everyone experiences it, and it is through our understanding of impermanence that we find peace in letting go. In our everyday lives, we often try to hold on to things, thinking that if we just cling hard enough, we can keep them. But when we try to control everything, we only set ourselves up for disappointment. Think about how we try to preserve our youth, our health, or our relationships. We might fear that if we let go of our attachments, we will lose everything that makes us happy. But in truth, letting go actually allows us to live more fully, because it frees us from the constant fear of losing something. We are all attached to something in one way or another, whether it's a person, a possession, a goal, or even an idea. But attachment can be a source of suffering. When we hold on too tightly, we create expectations that can never be met, because life is always changing. And when these things inevitably change or fade away, we experience pain and sorrow. This is why the Buddha teaches us to cultivate the art of letting go, of releasing our grip on things we cannot control. The beauty of understanding impermanence is that it also teaches us to live in the present moment. When we let go of our attachments to the past or the future, we open ourselves up to the fullness of life right here, right now. This moment is all we truly have. The past is gone, and the future has not yet arrived. But this moment, this breath, this feeling, this experience, is the only thing we can truly control. When we let go of the need to hold on to everything, we can appreciate each moment as it is, without fear of losing it. It's important to understand that letting go doesn't mean abandoning what we love. It means finding peace in the knowledge that everything is temporary. When we let go, we allow ourselves to enjoy life more fully. We can love without fear, be present without worry, and live without regret. The teachings of impermanence help us break free from the trap of attachment. The Buddha said, "The root of suffering is attachment." When we are attached to something, whether it's a person, an object, or even a belief, we set ourselves up for pain. Everything changes. The person we love might change, our possessions may break or fade, and the world around us may shift. But if we can learn to release our attachment to these things, we can find peace in the ever-changing flow of life. Consider the seasons. They are a perfect metaphor for impermanence. The warmth of summer always gives way to the chill of winter, and the leaves of the trees change colors before falling to the ground. But no matter what the seasons bring, we know that they will always change again. The seasons don't hold on to their current state, they let go, knowing that change is inevitable. In the same way, we can learn to flow with life, accepting change as a natural part of our experience. Letting go also means releasing the stories we tell ourselves about who we are. We are not defined by our past mistakes, our successes, or our failures. These are just moments in time, and they do not determine our future. When we let go of the labels we place on ourselves, we open up to the possibility of becoming something new, of evolving into a more peaceful and enlightened version of ourselves. Another aspect of impermanence is the realization that everything is interconnected. The changes we experience in our lives are not isolated events. They are part of a larger web of causes and conditions. Just as the river is shaped by the mountains, the rain, and the sun, our lives are shaped by countless factors. We may not always understand the reasons behind certain changes, but we can trust that each moment is part of a greater plan. When we let go of the need to control, we can trust in the flow of life. In Buddhism, there is a practice known as mindful awareness. This is the practice of being fully present in each moment, without clinging to the past or worrying about the future. When we practice mindfulness, we begin to see the impermanence of all things. We recognize that everything we experience, whether it's a pleasant sensation or an unpleasant one, is temporary. This awareness helps us release our attachment to things, knowing that they will pass. It is not easy to let go. Our minds are often filled with fears and desires that drive us to hold on to things tightly. But with time and practice, we can learn to loosen our grip and allow life to flow more freely. We can begin to see that by letting go, we are not losing anything, we are gaining everything. We are gaining the freedom to experience life as it is, without the burden of attachment. As you go through your day, remember that everything around you is impermanent. The people you meet, the things you possess, and even your own thoughts are all in a constant state of change. The next time you feel the urge to hold on tightly to something, pause and take a deep breath. Ask yourself, can I let go? Can I allow this moment to simply be what it is, without trying to control or hold on to it? Letting go is not about giving up. It's about embracing life in its fullest form, free from the fear of change. It's about trusting that everything, no matter how fleeting, is part of the beautiful and ever-changing flow of life. When you understand impermanence, you begin to understand the true nature of reality, and that, in itself, is the key to freedom and peace. Mastering the mind, the power of right thinking. In life, the mind is like a wild horse, restless, constantly running in different directions. It can be your greatest ally or your most formidable enemy. Have you ever found yourself lost in thought, replaying a conversation over and over, or worrying about something that hasn't even happened yet? This is what it means to be controlled by your thoughts. You may not realize it, but your mind has an incredible power over your emotions, your decisions, and ultimately, the way you experience life. But what if you could learn to tame this wild horse? What if you could gain control over your thoughts and use them as a tool for peace and wisdom instead of suffering? In Buddhism, this concept is referred to as the right thinking, part of the Eightfold Path, a simple yet profound guide to living a meaningful life. It's about understanding that not all thoughts are beneficial and learning to redirect the mind from harmful patterns. It's about recognizing the difference between thoughts that bring clarity and those that bring confusion. Just like a painter who carefully chooses colors for a masterpiece, we must learn to choose our thoughts with intention. You see, most of us live on autopilot, reacting to thoughts without questioning them. For example, let's say you've been in a bad mood all day. You may think, this day is awful. Everything is going wrong. I can't do anything right. These thoughts may seem harmless at first, but over time, they create a spiral of negativity. The more you dwell on these thoughts, the more they begin to shape your reality. You start to believe that everything is going wrong, even when it isn't. And before you know it, you're stuck in a mental cycle that only deepens your misery. But Buddhism teaches us that we don't have to be prisoners to our thoughts. We can break free. The key is awareness. The moment you recognize a negative or unhelpful thought, you can choose to let it go. It's like noticing a cloud drifting across the sky. Instead of holding on to it and allowing it to block your view of the sun, you simply watch it pass. You don't chase after it, and you don't try to hold it in place. You let it go, knowing that it doesn't define you. This doesn't mean you should suppress your thoughts or pretend to be happy when you're not. It's about cultivating a mindset of observation rather than identification. The Buddha taught that suffering arises when we become attached to our thoughts and emotions, believing that they are permanent and unchangeable. In reality, everything, every thought, every feeling is temporary. They come and go like waves on the ocean. The key is not to be swept away by them. One of the most powerful practices in Buddhism is mindfulness, which helps you gain control over your thoughts. Mindfulness is the art of being present in the moment, without judgment. When you practice mindfulness, you become aware of your thoughts as they arise. You observe them with curiosity, rather than automatically reacting to them. For example, if you're feeling angry, mindfulness allows you to notice the anger without immediately acting on it. You don't need to act on every impulse. You don't need to say everything that comes to your mind. You can simply observe and let it pass. This doesn't mean that you should suppress your emotions or thoughts. Rather, it means that you should not let them control you. When you practice right thinking, you start to shift your perspective. You see thoughts for what they truly are: temporary mental events that don't define you. This shift in mindset is incredibly liberating. When you stop believing every thought that crosses your mind, you free yourself from the cycle of suffering. You stop identifying with the negative thoughts, and instead, you begin to cultivate thoughts that are peaceful, compassionate, and wise. Let me share a simple example to illustrate this. Imagine you're driving and someone cuts you off in traffic. Your first reaction might be anger. How dare they do that? You might think. But if you practice mindfulness and right thinking, you can observe that initial reaction without becoming attached to it. Instead of immediately giving in to the anger and reacting with frustration, you pause. You recognize that the anger is just a thought, and like any thought, it will pass. You can choose to let it go, rather than letting it ruin your day. This may seem simple, but it's not always easy. Our minds are conditioned to react quickly, often without thought. But with practice, you can train your mind to respond with awareness rather than automatic reactions. This is the essence of right thinking. It's about understanding that your thoughts are not facts, and they don't have to control you. You are not your thoughts. You are the observer of your thoughts. As you begin to master your mind, you'll notice a shift in the way you experience life. You'll find that you react less to external events, and instead, you respond with wisdom and clarity. You'll begin to see that you have the power to shape your own experience by choosing the thoughts you focus on. You will no longer be a victim of your mind, but rather the master of it. Buddhism teaches that the mind is a powerful tool for transformation. When used properly, it can bring peace, wisdom, and enlightenment. The key is to understand that your thoughts are like seeds. What you plant in your mind will eventually grow. If you plant seeds of positivity, kindness, and compassion, those qualities will blossom in your life. If you plant seeds of anger, fear, and hatred, those qualities will take root and grow as well. The choice is yours. In the next part, we will explore how to cultivate thoughts that support your growth, happiness, and inner peace. But for now, remember this: you have the power to change the way you think. You have the ability to free yourself from the grip of your mind. By practicing right thinking, you begin to take control of your life, one thought at a time. And with each step, you move closer to the peace and freedom that lies within you. Beyond suffering, the path to inner peace. When you wake up in the morning, do you feel a sense of peace or a sense of burden? Most of us are constantly carrying something. Whether it's worries about work, regrets from the past, or fears about the future. It feels as though suffering is built into the fabric of life, doesn't it? We think we have to face it, endure it, and that's just the way it is. But what if I told you that there is a way to look at life where suffering doesn't have to be the norm? What if you could step away from the weight of emotional pain and begin to feel lighter, more at peace? Buddhism teaches us something fundamental. Suffering is a part of life, but it is not permanent. Just because we experience hardship doesn't mean that we are doomed to suffer forever. In fact, suffering is not just an unavoidable reality, it's a way to learn, grow, and ultimately find peace. This may sound counterintuitive, but bear with me. In Buddhism, suffering is often referred to as dukkha, a term that goes beyond the idea of mere pain. It encompasses all forms of dissatisfaction, frustration, and longing that we experience in life. Dukkha reminds us that we are always seeking happiness, but we often miss it because we are attached to things that are fleeting, uncertain, and beyond our control. Think about the last time you felt truly upset. Was it because something outside of you went wrong? Or was it because your mind became fixated on something that you couldn't control? For example, you might be angry about a situation at work, or perhaps there is something you wish you could change about your relationships. The more you think about it, the more upset you become, and the harder it is to let go. In that moment, you are suffering not just because of the event, but because you are attached to your own thoughts and expectations about what should be. You are resisting life as it is. Buddhism invites us to ask a simple but profound question. What if you could let go of the constant struggle to control everything? What if you could find peace in the present moment, no matter what was happening around you? The first step in overcoming suffering is to recognize it. Most of the time, we are so busy trying to escape our pain that we don't even realize we're suffering. We distract ourselves with tasks, activities, and even other people, trying to fill the emptiness or calm the restlessness inside. But the truth is, these distractions never truly bring us peace. They only cover up the discomfort for a while. The key is to be aware of your suffering and acknowledge it without judgment. When you can simply see it for what it is, without trying to push it away, you're already beginning the path to healing. One of the most powerful teachings of Buddhism is that suffering arises from our attachment to things, our desire for things to be a certain way. This is called tanha, or craving. We crave things to go our way. We crave approval. We crave comfort. But no matter how much we try to satisfy these cravings, they never truly fulfill us. We may feel temporary happiness when we get what we want, but eventually that happiness fades. The more we chase after external sources of satisfaction, the more we find ourselves stuck in a cycle of desire and frustration. What Buddhism offers is a shift in perspective. Instead of trying to get rid of suffering by avoiding it or seeking pleasure, the Buddhist path teaches us to transform our relationship with suffering. It's not about running away from difficulties, but rather understanding them in a way that frees us from their grip. This transformation begins with the realization that we do not need to be attached to our suffering. We don't need to define ourselves by it. Instead of letting pain define who we are, we can let it be a teacher. Suffering shows us the places where we are clinging too tightly, where we are resisting life. And when we understand this, we can begin to let go of our attachments and find peace. This doesn't mean that you will never face challenges or feel pain again. It means that when difficulties arise, you will have a new perspective. You will be able to see them as part of the natural flow of life, and you won't have to fight against them. You will be able to meet them with calmness and understanding, knowing that nothing in life is permanent, neither pain nor pleasure. Everything comes and goes, and so can your suffering. A beautiful analogy from Buddhism is the image of a wave in the ocean. When a wave is rising up, it may seem strong and powerful, but it will eventually crash and dissolve back into the water. Similarly, our emotions, our thoughts, and our suffering may feel overwhelming at times, but they too will eventually pass. They don't define us, just like a wave doesn't define the ocean. We are much like the vast, calm ocean. Our true nature is peaceful, and the waves of suffering can rise and fall without disturbing that inner calm. Once you begin to understand that suffering is not the end of the story, you can start to approach life in a different way. Instead of seeing challenges as threats, you will see them as opportunities for growth. Instead of resisting pain, you will allow it to teach you something important about yourself. The more you practice this, the more you will start to feel a sense of peace that doesn't depend on external circumstances. You will become less attached to outcomes and more at ease with the flow of life. Now, this may all sound like a lofty ideal, and you may wonder if it's really possible to live like this in the midst of daily struggles. But the truth is, it's more accessible than you might think. The path to peace starts with small, everyday choices. It's about practicing mindfulness, being present with your emotions without reacting to them. It's about cultivating awareness of your thoughts and seeing them as they are temporary, fleeting, and not necessarily true. With each step, you will find that you can handle whatever life throws at you with greater ease, patience, and clarity. The Buddhist path to inner peace is not about achieving a perfect state of happiness or eliminating all pain. It's about learning to be at peace with what is. It's about seeing suffering as a natural part of life, but not something that controls you. The more you embrace this mindset, the more you will discover that peace is already within you, waiting to be realized. And the more you practice, the more you will feel this peace deep within your heart, no matter what happens in your external world. So, the next time you face a challenge, whether it's a difficult person, an unexpected event, or a painful emotion, remember this. You have the power to respond with wisdom, with compassion, and with understanding. You do not have to be controlled by your suffering. You can transform it. And in doing so, you will find that the path to inner peace is not a distant dream. It is something that is available to you right here, right now. The ripple effect. How compassion changes everything. Imagine a small stone being thrown into a calm pond. The ripples spread out, reaching every corner of the water. Now, think of kindness and compassion in the same way. Just like that stone, when you show compassion to one person, it creates ripples that reach far beyond what you can see or even imagine. Compassion is not just a nice feeling. It is a powerful force that can transform not only the life of the person receiving it, but also your own life and the world around you. Buddhism teaches that compassion is the key to unlocking a peaceful and fulfilling life. It is the antidote to suffering, both your own and others. In fact, without compassion, the path to true happiness and inner peace is incomplete. But why is compassion so powerful? And how can it change everything for you? You see, every day, we face countless opportunities to practice compassion. It could be something as simple as offering a kind word to a stranger or listening patiently to someone who is going through a tough time. It could also be extending empathy to yourself, forgiving your own mistakes, and learning to be kinder to yourself. Compassion doesn't just benefit the other person, it also nourishes your own heart. Now, you might be thinking, but life is hard. People can be rude, selfish, and unkind. How can I show compassion when I feel hurt or misunderstood? And that is exactly why compassion is so powerful. It is not something that depends on how others behave. In fact, true compassion often arises in the most difficult situations, when you are faced with negativity, frustration, or even anger. When you meet someone's anger with kindness, when you face someone's cruelty with patience, you begin to break the cycle of negativity. You create a space where peace can enter. This is the ripple effect at work. Your act of kindness, no matter how small, can inspire others to act with kindness, too. The world may feel divided at times, but small acts of compassion are like seeds that can grow into a garden of peace. Think about it. When you smile at someone, they might smile back. When you hold the door open for a stranger, they might do the same for someone else. That is the beginning of the ripple effect. You never know just how far your compassion can reach. It might uplift someone who is having a bad day, or it might inspire them to pass on the kindness to others. That one simple act can change the course of a person's day, their week, or even their life. But compassion is not always easy. Sometimes, it feels like the world is full of people who are just too difficult to deal with. We all encounter situations where someone's behavior triggers our anger or frustration. In those moments, it can be incredibly hard to respond with compassion. But Buddhism teaches us that the key to transforming these situations is to understand that everyone is suffering in their own way. Everyone carries pain. Everyone has their own battles, whether visible or hidden. When you begin to see the world through this lens, your heart naturally opens to others. You begin to understand that their unkindness, their harsh words, or their impatience often come from their own fear, hurt, or confusion. This doesn't mean you have to tolerate bad behavior or stay silent in the face of injustice. Compassion is not about being a doormat or accepting everything. It is about responding with wisdom and kindness, without reacting out of anger or fear. It's about choosing to act in a way that uplifts both yourself and the other person, even when it is difficult. Take a moment to think about someone in your life who you might be struggling to get along with. Perhaps they have hurt you, or maybe their behavior frustrates you. What if, instead of reacting with anger or resentment, you responded with compassion? What would it look like to offer them understanding, even if they don't deserve it in your eyes? Compassion doesn't always mean offering a solution. Sometimes, it simply means being present with someone, listening to them without judgment, and offering your support without expecting anything in return. And while it may seem like a small gesture, your compassion can make a world of difference in someone's life. But here's the most important part. Compassion doesn't just change the lives of others, it changes you. Every time you practice compassion, you become more in tune with your true nature. You begin to let go of the ego-driven need for recognition or reward. You start to see yourself and others through a lens of love and understanding. The more you cultivate compassion, the more you learn to soften your heart. You let go of the walls you've built around yourself in order to protect your heart. You start to realize that when you open your heart to others, you also open it to yourself. Compassion allows you to heal your own wounds by helping others heal theirs. It brings you closer to the truth of who you really are, a being of love, interconnected with all life. One of the most profound teachings in Buddhism is the idea of the interconnectedness of all beings. We are not separate from one another. Our actions, no matter how small, create an impact on the world around us. When you practice compassion, you are not only helping others, you are also helping yourself. Every act of kindness, no matter how small, creates a positive energy that ripples outward, touching everyone it encounters. And the more you practice compassion, the more you begin to see it everywhere. You start to notice the ways in which others are also showing compassion, whether it's a stranger helping someone with their groceries or a friend offering a listening ear. Compassion becomes a way of life, and you begin to live in a world that is more loving, more peaceful, and more connected. When you approach the world with compassion, you begin to notice the beauty and goodness that exists all around you. You start to see people not as obstacles or challenges, but as fellow travelers on the journey of life. You realize that each person is doing the best they can with the tools they have, and that everyone has the potential to grow and change. At the same time, compassion frees you from the burdens of anger, resentment, and fear. It helps you release the need to control others and allows you to accept them for who they are. You no longer feel the need to change them or make them fit into your idea of how they should behave. Instead, you simply offer them love and understanding, without expectation. As you cultivate compassion in your life, you will start to notice the profound impact it has on your well-being. You will feel lighter, more at peace, and more connected to the world around you. You will realize that the more you give, the more you receive. The love and kindness you extend to others return to you in ways you never expected. And when you truly understand the power of compassion, you will see that it has the potential to change everything. Not just your life, but the lives of those around you. It has the power to heal wounds, to bridge divides, and to create a world where love and kindness are the foundation of everything we do. So, take a moment to reflect. How can you show compassion today? Who in your life could benefit from a little kindness or understanding? It doesn't matter how big or small the gesture is. What matters is that you begin to create ripples of compassion, spreading love wherever you go. The middle way, finding balance in everyday life. In life, we often find ourselves torn between extremes. One person may dedicate every waking moment to work, chasing success, never allowing themselves time to relax or connect with others. Another may focus only on leisure, avoiding responsibility and finding comfort in distractions. Both extremes can leave us unfulfilled, restless, and longing for something more. The key, my friend, is balance. In Buddhism, this balance is called the middle way. It's the path of moderation, avoiding the extremes of self-indulgence and self-mortification. But this path isn't just about finding a balance between work and rest. It's about finding balance in every aspect of your life, thoughts, actions, emotions, and desires. Imagine living each day fully, without overexerting yourself in one area or neglecting another. What if you could work with focus, but also leave space for joy, connection, and rest? What if your mind wasn't constantly pulled to the past or the future, but rested calmly in the present moment? This is what the middle way teaches us. The middle way is about understanding that life is neither a constant pursuit of pleasure nor an attempt to escape from pain. It's about accepting that both joy and sorrow, success and failure, will come and go. But neither needs to define you. When you walk the path of moderation, you begin to see that life isn't about extremes. It's about being present, mindful, and at peace with whatever comes your way. One of the key teachings of the middle way is recognizing that true happiness doesn't come from having more or chasing something elusive. It doesn't come from accumulating wealth, fame, or status. These things may bring temporary joy, but they can also bring stress, disappointment, and dissatisfaction. The middle way shows us that happiness arises from contentment with what we have right now. Take a moment to reflect. Do you constantly chase the next thing, a bigger house, a higher-paying job, more recognition? Do you find yourself exhausted and stressed, believing that you need more to feel fulfilled? What if true peace comes from simplifying your desires, from accepting that you have enough, from finding joy in the present moment? Buddha taught that craving, or attachment, is the root of suffering. The more we desire, the more we set ourselves up for disappointment, because nothing in this world is permanent. When we attach our happiness to external things, we are always at the mercy of change. The middle way invites us to release our attachment to these things, to let go of the belief that we need them to be happy. It teaches us to find contentment within ourselves, regardless of what we have or don't have. This doesn't mean that you should stop working hard or striving for goals. It doesn't mean that you should abandon your passions or dreams. The middle way isn't about doing less. It's about doing more of what truly matters. It's about living intentionally, without overburdening yourself with unnecessary wants or distractions. It's about recognizing that while ambition is valuable, peace is more valuable. The middle way guides us to pursue our goals with balance, without letting them consume us. In your daily life, the middle way can show up in countless ways. Perhaps you find yourself working long hours, feeling burned out, but still pushing forward because you think you must. Maybe you find it difficult to say no to the demands of others, even though your own energy and well-being are at stake. The middle way teaches you to listen to your body, to honor your limits, and to know when to rest. It reminds you that self-care is not indulgence. It is necessary for a balanced life. But balance is not just about our actions, it is about our mindset as well. Think about the way you approach challenges. Do you tend to be overly critical of yourself when things don't go according to plan? Or do you avoid challenges altogether, afraid of failure? The middle way helps you find a balanced approach to your thoughts. It encourages you to face difficulties with courage and patience, but also with kindness toward yourself. Instead of beating yourself up when things go wrong, you learn to approach yourself with compassion, understanding that mistakes are part of growth. Life is full of ups and downs, joys and struggles. When we approach life with extremes, either avoiding challenges or pushing ourselves too hard, we miss out on the richness of the journey. The middle way teaches us that it's not about avoiding difficulty or seeking constant pleasure. It's about finding peace within all experiences. Whether you're facing challenges or enjoying success, the middle way shows you how to remain grounded, centered, and peaceful. One of the most beautiful aspects of the middle way is its simplicity. It doesn't require drastic changes or complicated practices. It's about living with intention, noticing where you might be out of balance, and gently guiding yourself back to the center. It's about being present, mindful, and aware of your thoughts, emotions, and actions. When you can find balance within yourself, you begin to experience peace no matter what's happening around you. Balance is also about finding harmony in your relationships. How often do you find yourself giving too much of yourself to others, only to feel drained and unappreciated? Or perhaps you've closed yourself off, afraid of getting too close to anyone. The middle way teaches you to give and receive love with balance. It teaches you to offer kindness, but also to protect your own well-being. It invites you to be present for others, but not at the expense of your own peace. As you practice the middle way, you'll begin to notice a shift. You'll find yourself making decisions that are more aligned with your values. You'll begin to prioritize what truly matters and let go of things that drain your energy. You'll experience a sense of peace and clarity, knowing that you are living in harmony with yourself and the world around you. Ultimately, the middle way is about freedom. freedom from the pull of extremes, freedom from the pressure to be perfect, and freedom to live authentically. It is the path to a life where you can embrace both the highs and the lows without being consumed by either. It is the path to peace, joy, and balance. And once you discover it, you'll see that true happiness lies not in having more, but in needing less. So, as you move forward in your life, remember the middle way. Let it guide your choices, your thoughts, and your actions. Allow it to bring balance to your daily life, and watch as it transforms not only the way you live, but the way you experience the world. By following the middle way, you'll find that life becomes not something to endure, but something to embrace with grace and peace. Karma and intentions, shaping your future with every action. In this world, everything we do, say, or think leaves an impression. These impressions don't just vanish, they become part of us, and over time, they shape who we are. This is the essence of karma. Every action, no matter how small, has consequences. What many people don't realize is that karma isn't about punishment or reward. It's simply the law of cause and effect. It's the idea that everything we do creates ripples in the world, ripples that will eventually return to us. Now, imagine a simple act. Maybe you've helped a friend in need, or you've smiled at a stranger on a rough day. These actions might seem insignificant at first, but they are not without consequence. The kindness you show others often finds its way back to you, sometimes in the form of new opportunities, or sometimes simply in the way it makes you feel inside. These are the ripples of karma, quietly moving through your life, shaping your path. But karma is not just about good deeds. It is also about the intentions behind those deeds. A person might give money to charity, but if the intention behind that act is pride or a desire for recognition, then the karma created by that action is different from one done out of genuine compassion. In Buddhism, it is not the act itself that matters the most. It is the motivation that drives the act. This is why Buddha taught that our intentions are just as important, if not more, than our outward actions. Think for a moment. Why do you do the things you do? Are you driven by a desire to help others? Or are you seeking approval, recognition, or some other form of reward? When your intentions are pure, rooted in kindness and compassion, the results are usually positive. However, if your actions are driven by selfish motives, the consequences may not always be as fulfilling, even if the act itself seems good. This understanding of karma can completely change the way you live your life. It means that you are not just a passive observer of your circumstances. You are an active participant, constantly shaping your future with every decision you make. Your actions today create the foundation for tomorrow. This is why it's so important to be mindful of your thoughts, words, and deeds. Each one of them carries weight and has the potential to change the course of your life. Consider the example of a farmer planting seeds. The seeds they plant today will grow into crops in the future. If they plant seeds of kindness and compassion, their harvest will be filled with peace and love. But if they plant seeds of anger or resentment, their harvest will be filled with conflict and struggle. The key is in recognizing that, like the farmer, you are always planting seeds. And just as a farmer cannot change the crops they harvest once they've been planted, we cannot change the consequences of our actions once they've been set into motion. What happens when you begin to act with pure intentions? What happens when you choose to live each day with kindness, patience, and understanding? The first thing you'll notice is a shift in how you feel. You may not immediately see the outward effects of your actions, but you will start to feel more at peace. Your heart becomes lighter, your mind clearer, and your spirit more aligned with the truth. The more you act with sincerity, the more your life begins to reflect that sincerity. You may also notice that your relationships improve, and opportunities seem to arise in unexpected places. This is the magic of karma at work, returning to you what you've put into the world. Karma isn't always immediate, and sometimes the results are not as obvious as we might expect. There are times when you do something kind for someone, and they don't respond the way you hoped. Or perhaps you help someone, and they never seem to appreciate your effort. At these moments, it's important to remember that karma works in its own time and way. Just because you don't see the result immediately doesn't mean it won't come back to you eventually. The universe, or whatever you believe in, has its own rhythm and timing, and sometimes the consequences of your actions unfold slowly over time. It's also important to understand that karma doesn't always manifest in the way you expect. Sometimes, the universe doesn't give you what you want, but it gives you what you need. You might not get the praise or recognition for your good deeds, but you may find yourself in a better place mentally or emotionally. You might not receive a material reward, but you may experience a deep sense of inner peace. The rewards of good karma are not always material. Often, they come in the form of spiritual growth, peace of mind, and personal strength. Buddhism teaches that the key to creating positive karma is in acting with awareness. Every action you take, no matter how small, should be considered carefully. When you act out of anger or frustration, you are creating karma that can lead to more anger and frustration. But when you act out of patience, understanding, and love, you create a ripple effect of positivity. Over time, these ripples spread, shaping your future and the world around you. The good news is that karma isn't something set in stone. It is always in motion, and it is never too late to change it. You can change your karma right now, with every thought, every word, and every action. If you feel that you've made mistakes in the past, don't worry. The beauty of karma is that it's not about the past, it's about the present. You can start today, right now, by setting new intentions and making new choices. Every positive choice you make moves you closer to the life you want to create. Karma is a powerful force in Buddhism because it reminds us that we are in control of our lives. While we can't always control what happens to us, we can control how we respond. We can choose to act with kindness, compassion, and mindfulness. And with each mindful act, we are not only improving our own lives, but also the lives of those around us. This is how you shape your future, not by waiting for something to change, but by changing yourself. Your actions today are the seeds for tomorrow's future. Remember, your life is a reflection of your intentions. If you want to experience peace, happiness, and success, start by planting seeds of kindness, understanding, and love. Each action you take, no matter how small, has the potential to create a better world for yourself and for others. As you begin to live with this awareness, you will notice a transformation not only in yourself, but in the world around you. Karma teaches us that we are all connected. What you do to others, you are doing to yourself. So, be kind, be patient, be loving. The energy you send out into the world will come back to you, often in ways you don't expect, but always in ways that will shape your future for the better. The power of mindfulness, living fully in the present. Mindfulness. It's a word we hear often, but what does it really mean? In the simplest terms, mindfulness is the practice of being fully present, of truly experiencing each moment as it is, without distractions, judgment, or attachment. Think about the last time you ate a meal. Did you truly taste the food? Did you notice the colors, the textures, the flavors, or were you distracted by your phone, your thoughts, or something else? How often do we go through our day, our entire lives, without truly experiencing the present moment? We live in a world full of distractions, constant notifications, busy schedules, endless to-do lists. It's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of life, always thinking about the past or worrying about the future. But here's the truth. The only time we truly have is right now. The present moment is the only reality we can touch, feel, and experience. Yet, many of us spend our time lost in thoughts about what has already happened or what might happen. We miss the beauty of the present. We forget to live. Buddhism teaches us that our suffering often comes from our inability to be present. We dwell on past regrets, replaying old mistakes in our minds, or we worry about the future, fearing what might go wrong. But in doing so, we miss the opportunity to live in the here and now. The Buddha often spoke about the nature of suffering and how much of it is self-created. It's not just about external circumstances, but about how we react to them. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you truly paused to appreciate the world around you? Maybe you were walking in the park, but your mind was somewhere else, lost in thoughts about work or family or a past argument. Or perhaps you were sitting with a loved one, but instead of engaging in the conversation, your mind was drifting away. We all do it. We all let life slip by without truly being aware of it. And in doing so, we miss out on so much. Imagine, for a moment, that you could break free from this cycle. What would happen if you could fully engage with every moment, no matter how small? What if you could appreciate the taste of your morning coffee, the warmth of the sun on your face, the laughter of a friend? What if you could be fully present with your thoughts and emotions, without judgment or distraction? This is what mindfulness offers, a way to reconnect with the richness of life, to experience the beauty of the world as it is, and to find peace in the present moment. One of the most powerful practices in Buddhism is the art of mindfulness meditation. This practice is simple, yet incredibly transformative. It involves focusing your attention on your breath, on the sensations in your body, or on the present moment itself. As you sit in stillness, you begin to notice the thoughts that arise in your mind, but instead of getting caught up in them, you simply observe them. You don't judge them, you don't try to change them. You just let them come and go, like clouds passing through the sky. Through this practice, you begin to develop a deeper awareness of your thoughts, emotions, and actions. You become more in tune with yourself, with your body, with the world around you. And as you cultivate this awareness, you start to see things differently. You notice the little things, the way the wind moves the leaves, the sound of birds chirping in the morning, the smile of a stranger on the street. These moments, so often overlooked, become sources of joy and peace. But mindfulness is not just something you do in meditation. It's a way of living. It's about bringing your attention to whatever you're doing, whether it's eating, walking, or having a conversation. It's about being fully present in every experience, no matter how ordinary. Imagine how much more you would enjoy life if you could truly be in the moment. How much more grateful would you be for the simple things? In Buddhism, there is a concept called right mindfulness. This refers to being mindful not just of the external world, but also of your internal world, your thoughts, your emotions, your reactions. Right mindfulness means observing your thoughts without judgment, noticing when you become angry or anxious, and simply allowing those feelings to pass without clinging to them. It means being aware of your actions, of the impact they have on others, and making conscious choices to live with kindness, compassion, and awareness. The beauty of mindfulness is that it doesn't require any special skills or knowledge. You don't need to be a Buddhist or meditate for hours a day to practice mindfulness. All it takes is a willingness to be present, to notice what's happening right now. It's about bringing your attention to the here and now, instead of letting your mind wander to the past or future. It's about being aware of your thoughts and feelings without being controlled by them. As you begin to practice mindfulness, you may notice something amazing happening. Your mind starts to quiet down. The constant chatter, the racing thoughts, the worries, all begin to fade away. You become less reactive, more peaceful. You begin to see the world more clearly, without the clouded lens of judgment or expectation. And in this clarity, you find freedom. This is the true power of mindfulness. It's not just about feeling good in the moment. It's about transforming your relationship with life itself. By being present, you cultivate a deeper sense of connection with yourself, with others, and with the world around you. You begin to live more authentically, more fully, and with a sense of inner peace that doesn't depend on external circumstances. Mindfulness also helps you to become more aware of your habits, both good and bad. Have you ever found yourself reacting to a situation with anger or frustration, only to realize later that your reaction was unnecessary? Mindfulness allows you to catch these moments before they take over. You begin to notice when you're about to lose your temper or when you're about to make a decision based on fear or desire. And in that moment, you can choose a different path. You can choose to respond with calmness, with wisdom, with kindness. The more you practice mindfulness, the more it becomes a natural part of your life. It's not something you have to think about or force. It becomes a way of being. And as it becomes a way of being, it begins to change your life in ways you might never have imagined. You begin to see that the present moment is enough. You begin to understand that peace is not something you need to chase. It's already here, in every breath, in every step, in every moment. You begin to realize that true happiness doesn't come from external achievements or possessions. It comes from within, from the simple act of being present and appreciating what is. In the end, mindfulness teaches us that life is not something to be endured, but something to be fully experienced. It's about living in the moment, without clinging to the past or fearing the future. It's about finding joy in the simple, everyday moments and embracing life as it is, with all its beauty and challenges. Through mindfulness, we awaken to the truth that the present moment is all we ever really have. And in that truth, we find freedom, peace, and the true richness of life. So, take a moment right now. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and just notice how you feel. Let go of the past, let go of the future, and simply be here, in this moment. This is where life truly happens. Breaking free, overcoming attachments and desires. In our daily lives, we often find ourselves chasing after things we believe will bring us happiness, security, or fulfillment. Whether it's a new car, a better job, more money, or even the approval of others, we spend so much of our energy seeking these external things, convinced that they will fill an inner void. But what if I told you that the more you chase, the further away you push true happiness? What if the key to peace and joy lies not in acquiring, but in letting go? Think about a time when you really wanted something. Maybe it was something material, like a new phone, or perhaps it was an emotion, like love or respect. You felt that longing so deeply. But once you got it, did it truly bring lasting happiness? Or did you quickly find yourself longing for something else? It's like trying to fill a cup with water, but the cup has a hole in it. No matter how much you pour in, the water always leaks out. This is the trap of attachment. Attachment, according to Buddhism, is the root of so much suffering. When we attach ourselves to things, whether they are people, possessions, or even outcomes, we create a false sense of security. We believe that these things will define our happiness, but in reality, they are fleeting. They come and go, and when they do, we are left feeling empty. It's like clinging to a flower in full bloom, only to watch it wither and fall. We cannot hold on to anything in this world forever. Everything is temporary, impermanent. This is one of the core teachings of Buddhism. But how do we break free from this cycle? How do we stop clinging to things that only bring temporary pleasure and instead find lasting peace? The first step is understanding that our desires, while natural, are not the source of true happiness. Desires come from the mind, and the mind is ever-changing. What we desire today may not be what we desire tomorrow. It's like trying to catch the wind with your hands. It's impossible. Instead of chasing after these desires, we must learn to observe them without attachment. We must allow them to pass through our minds without getting caught up in them. This is where mindfulness comes into play. Mindfulness allows us to become aware of our desires, but it also teaches us not to react to them. When we are mindful, we can see the desire for what it is, a passing thought or feeling. We don't need to act on it. Imagine being able to observe your thoughts and feelings without being carried away by them. When you feel the desire to buy something new, instead of rushing to the store, you pause. You take a breath. You ask yourself, do I truly need this? Will it bring me lasting happiness? Or is it just a temporary fix? In that moment, you have the power to choose how to respond. Another powerful tool in overcoming attachment is understanding the impermanence of everything. When we truly accept that everything, whether it's a relationship, a job, or even our own lives, is temporary, we stop holding on so tightly. We begin to appreciate things for what they are, without expecting them to last forever. Think of the seasons. Each one comes and goes. The leaves fall in autumn, and new ones grow in spring. The trees don't mourn the loss of their leaves because they know that change is natural. In the same way, we must learn to embrace change, to let go when it's time to let go, and to appreciate the present moment for what it is. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means freeing yourself from the unnecessary burdens you carry. It means accepting that you don't need to hold on to everything in your life for fear of losing it. When we let go of attachment, we free ourselves to live in the moment, to enjoy what we have, and to be at peace with the flow of life. It's about trusting that the universe has its own plan, that things are unfolding as they should, even if we don't always understand it. And when we let go, we open ourselves up to something even more profound, true contentment. Contentment is not about having everything we want, but about being at peace with what we have. It's about finding joy in the simple things. The warmth of the sun on your face, the sound of the wind, the smile of a loved one. These are the things that bring lasting happiness, things that don't depend on external circumstances or desires. True happiness comes from within, from a deep sense of inner peace and acceptance. Now, let's consider the impact of attachment on our relationships. When we become attached to people, we often place unrealistic expectations on them. We expect them to behave in certain ways, to meet our needs, and to make us feel a certain way. But people are not possessions. They cannot be controlled or owned. When we let go of the need to control or possess others, we allow our relationships to flourish. We love without clinging, we care without expectation, and we support without demanding. This is the foundation of compassionate, healthy relationships. It's important to note that letting go of attachment doesn't mean withdrawing from life. It doesn't mean becoming indifferent or apathetic. On the contrary, it means engaging with life fully, without the need to possess or control. It means being present in each moment, appreciating the beauty of the world around you, and experiencing life as it comes. When we let go, we can embrace life with open arms, knowing that we don't need to hold on tightly to anything in order to enjoy it. Breaking free from attachment is a process. It doesn't happen overnight, and it requires patience and practice. But every step you take toward letting go is a step toward greater peace and happiness. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have all the answers. All you need to do is be willing to let go of what no longer serves you and to trust in the natural flow of life. In the end, the more we let go, the more we gain. We gain freedom from the constant cycle of wanting and striving. We gain peace from the chaos of attachment. then we gain the ability to live fully in the present moment, without the weight of past regrets or future anxieties holding us back. This is the true meaning of freedom, the freedom to be ourselves, to live authentically, and to experience life as it is, without the need to possess or control. This is the path to lasting peace and happiness, the strength of patience, turning challenges into wisdom. Imagine you are standing at the edge of a river, watching the water flow. It moves at its own pace, never rushing, never hesitating. The river has been flowing for centuries, quietly carving its path through mountains and valleys, patient with every twist and turn. If we were to step into the river and try to control its flow, we would be exhausted and frustrated. But if we observe, we would see that the river simply moves forward, no matter what. It doesn't struggle or resist, it just flows with patience, allowing its journey to unfold naturally. This is the strength of patience. Patience is not something we often think of as a source of strength. We live in a world that rewards speed, quick results, fast responses, instant gratification. But in the rush of life, we often miss the most important things. We become frustrated when things don't happen as quickly as we want them to. We get irritated when our plans don't go the way we imagined. We lose our temper when someone doesn't meet our expectations, and in doing so, we lose the very peace we are striving for. But what if patience was the key to everything? Think about a time in your life when you faced a difficult challenge. Perhaps you were waiting for an important decision, or you were struggling with a personal issue that seemed never-ending. How did you handle that situation? Did you feel your frustration grow with each passing moment, or did you find peace in waiting? Many of us are conditioned to expect immediate answers, immediate solutions. But the truth is, life doesn't always work that way. Some challenges take time to resolve. Some things need time to heal. And often, the best way to face these challenges is with patience. Patience doesn't mean being passive or doing nothing. It doesn't mean you sit back and wait for things to magically fix themselves. Patience is about taking action when necessary, but doing so with a calm mind and without rushing the process. It is about understanding that everything has its time. It is about trusting the process, knowing that your actions today will shape your future, even if the results are not immediately visible. It is about finding peace in the present moment, even when the future seems uncertain. Think about how much energy you spend when you are impatient. When you are constantly rushing, trying to force things to happen, you are not only exhausting yourself, but you are also pushing against the natural flow of life. In contrast, when you approach life with patience, you allow yourself to move through challenges with ease. You don't waste energy on frustration, anger, or anxiety. Instead, you conserve your strength and allow life to unfold in its own time. Patience is also closely tied to understanding. When you are patient, you are more likely to take the time to understand a situation fully. You won't rush to judgment or make hasty decisions. You will listen more carefully, observe more closely, and be more open to different perspectives. This deeper understanding allows you to make wiser choices and to approach challenges with a clear mind. But how do we develop this kind of patience? It's not something that comes naturally to most of us. In fact, many of us are taught from a young age to seek immediate results, to expect things to happen quickly. But like any skill, patience can be cultivated with practice. It starts by becoming aware of your impatience and acknowledging it when it arises. When you feel the urge to rush, take a deep breath. Pause. Remind yourself that everything has its time. Understand that rushing will only lead to unnecessary stress and frustration. Instead, focus on the present moment, on the task at hand, and trust that things will unfold as they should. One of the most powerful practices in Buddhism to develop patience is mindfulness. By being mindful, you bring your attention to the present moment without judgment. You stop worrying about what might happen in the future or what has happened in the past. You focus on what is happening right now. And in this present moment, you can cultivate the patience to allow things to unfold naturally. When you practice mindfulness, you begin to see that there is no need to rush. Everything is happening exactly as it should, and you are a part of that unfolding process. Patience also teaches us to accept imperfection. We often expect things to be perfect, whether it's our work, our relationships, or even our own behavior. But life is imperfect by nature. We are imperfect by nature. When we let go of the need for perfection, we can embrace life as it is, with all its flaws and uncertainties. We can learn to appreciate the beauty in imperfection and to see that every moment is an opportunity for growth. Another aspect of patience is learning to accept things that are beyond our control. So much of our stress comes from trying to control things that we simply cannot. We try to control other people's actions, the outcome of events, the speed at which things happen. But when we let go of this need for control, we find peace. We realize that there is no need to force things to happen. By letting go of control, we can focus on what we can change, our own reactions and actions. The Buddha taught that patience is one of the key virtues that lead to enlightenment. It is through patience that we learn to overcome suffering and to cultivate inner peace. When we practice patience, we are not just waiting for things to get better. We are growing in wisdom and understanding. We are learning to see the world as it is, without judgment, without expectation, and with acceptance. In moments of impatience, remember the river. It does not rush, yet it reaches its destination. The river teaches us that patience is not about waiting idly. It is about moving through life with grace, without resistance, and with a deep trust that everything is unfolding as it should. The challenges we face are not obstacles. They are opportunities for growth. Each difficulty, each delay, each moment of frustration is a chance to develop patience, to cultivate wisdom, and to become more at peace with ourselves and the world around us. In the end, the strength of patience lies in its ability to transform us. It turns our struggles into lessons, our frustrations into opportunities for growth, and our anxieties into peace. When we learn to be patient, we not only learn to accept life as it comes, but we also learn to thrive within it, no matter what it brings. Patience is not a passive state. It is an active choice, one that requires strength, courage, and faith in the process of life. As you continue on your journey, remember that patience is not something to be attained. It is something to be practiced. It is a muscle that grows stronger with each experience. So, the next time you find yourself in a difficult situation, take a moment to breathe. Let go of the need for instant results, and trust that everything will come in its own time. Enlightenment in daily life, bringing Buddhist principles into action. Imagine waking up in the morning with a sense of calm and gratitude, no matter what the day ahead holds. You don't feel overwhelmed by the tasks ahead, nor do you carry the weight of yesterday's worries. The world outside may be chaotic, but inside, you feel at peace. This is the power of living Buddhist principles in your everyday life. Most of us lead busy lives. We juggle work, relationships, responsibilities, and countless other commitments. It can feel like the days blur together, with little time for reflection, peace, or understanding. Yet, Buddhist wisdom teaches us that enlightenment isn't something we need to search for far away, nor is it only attainable through meditation retreats or monastic life. Enlightenment is available to us all, right here and right now, in the simple, everyday moments. Buddhism doesn't separate our spiritual life from our everyday life. It teaches us that true transformation begins not in a distant monastery, but in the way we live our day-to-day lives. The actions we take, the way we think, the way we relate to others. All of these shape our path toward peace and enlightenment. One of the most profound teachings in Buddhism is the practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness is the act of being fully present in the moment, without judgment. It means truly seeing what is happening, without getting lost in thoughts about the past or the future. It's about paying attention to what's in front of us right now, whether that's a conversation, a task, or even just the feeling of the air around us. Living mindfully can be a powerful tool in transforming everyday life. When you approach each task with full presence, whether it's washing dishes or answering emails, you can bring a sense of calm and clarity to even the most mundane moments. You stop rushing through life, hoping to reach the next thing, and instead, you embrace the beauty and peace of the present. Even the simplest tasks become opportunities to practice mindfulness, to be aware of the sensations, the thoughts, and the feelings that arise in the moment. Living with mindfulness means also living with intention. Every action we take, from the way we speak to the way we treat others, has an impact. Buddhists believe that our intentions are what shape the course of our lives. If we act with kindness, compassion, and awareness, our lives will naturally follow a path of peace and contentment. But if our actions are driven by selfish desires, anger, or fear, we create more suffering for ourselves and others. By being aware of our intentions, we can begin to steer our lives in a more positive direction. This is where the practice of right action comes in. Right action, one of the steps in the Noble Eightfold Path, is about living in a way that causes no harm to others and instead brings benefit. It's about being mindful of how our words, actions, and thoughts affect the world around us. The more we align ourselves with right action, the more we create a peaceful and harmonious world, both within ourselves and in our relationships. Another important practice is cultivating compassion. It's easy to be compassionate when things are going well, but true compassion shines through in difficult times. When someone hurts us or challenges us, it's tempting to respond with anger or frustration. But Buddhist wisdom teaches us that this is the moment when we need compassion the most. By practicing compassion in the face of adversity, we not only ease the suffering of others, but we also free ourselves from the cycle of negativity that can so easily take hold. To practice compassion, we must first understand the interconnectedness of all beings. Every person, every creature, every part of the world is connected in some way. When we realize that everyone is facing their own struggles, we can begin to see the humanity in them, even if they hurt us or act in ways we don't understand. Compassion is about seeing others as they truly are, not just through the lens of our own desires and frustrations. But living Buddhist principles doesn't mean that we become passive or accept suffering without response. Buddhism teaches us that we can take action to alleviate suffering, but we do so with a heart of compassion and wisdom. We act not out of anger or fear, but out of a desire to bring peace and understanding into the world. One of the greatest gifts Buddhism offers us is the teaching of impermanence. Everything in life is constantly changing. Our thoughts, our emotions, and our circumstances are all in a state of flux. When we cling to things, whether it's a job, a relationship, or even an identity, we create suffering for ourselves. The moment we grasp too tightly, we are bound to feel the pain of loss when those things inevitably change. By understanding impermanence, we can begin to let go. We can learn to appreciate the present moment without holding on to it, knowing that everything, including ourselves, is constantly evolving. This freedom from attachment is key to living a life of peace and joy. When we stop clinging to things, we can open ourselves to the beauty and fullness of life as it is, without trying to control or change it. This understanding of impermanence leads to the practice of non-attachment. Non-attachment doesn't mean we stop caring about people or things. It simply means that we don't rely on them for our happiness or sense of self-worth. We recognize that everything is temporary, and so we let go of the need to hold on to anything tightly. This doesn't mean we become indifferent or detached from the world. Instead, we engage with life fully, but without the fear of losing it. We live with the freedom that comes from knowing we don't need to control the world in order to be happy. In daily life, non-attachment can be practiced by letting go of our expectations. When we expect things to turn out a certain way, we set ourselves up for disappointment. But when we let go of these rigid expectations and embrace life as it comes, we open ourselves to the flow of experience. We learn to enjoy what is, rather than lament what is not. As we bring Buddhist principles into our daily lives, we begin to cultivate a life of peace, wisdom, and compassion. These teachings are not just ideas or concepts. They are practical tools that we can use every day to create a better, more fulfilling life. Whether we are at work, in our relationships, or simply living alone, we can find joy, clarity, and purpose by applying these teachings. The beauty of Buddhist wisdom is that it is available to us at any moment. We don't need to wait for a perfect time or special circumstances to begin our practice. Each moment is an opportunity to live with more awareness, kindness, and peace. As we make these teachings a part of our daily lives, we start to experience the profound transformation that comes with living in alignment with truth. Remember, enlightenment is not a far-off goal. It is something that can be realized right now, in the here and now. The more we live with intention, mindfulness, and compassion, the closer we come to understanding our true nature and the interconnectedness of all beings. This is the essence of Buddhist practice, to live fully with wisdom, compassion, and peace every single day. The journey continues, embracing a life of wisdom and peace. You've made it to the final part of this journey. Can you feel the transformation within you? Over the past few parts, you've explored timeless Buddhist teachings, each one offering a deeper understanding of life, the mind, and your own self. You've learned how to let go of anger, how to understand the impermanence of life, how to master your thoughts, and how to embrace compassion. But the question now is, where do you go from here? You see, wisdom doesn't stop at understanding. It requires practice. The teachings we've discussed are not meant to be just concepts to think about in quiet moments, but tools you can use every single day. They are the foundation of a life well lived, a life of peace, calm, and clarity. But to truly experience this, you must put these teachings into action. You must live them. If you've been practicing mindfulness, you may have already begun to notice small shifts in your day-to-day life. Maybe you've found yourself reacting less to stressful situations, choosing patience over frustration. Or perhaps you've started to recognize moments of attachment and have consciously chosen to release them. This is where the real magic happens, when the teachings of Buddhism become a living part of who you are. But transformation doesn't happen overnight. Like any skill, mindfulness, compassion, and the ability to let go of suffering require practice. And practice requires patience. In today's world, we are often conditioned to expect quick results, but real change takes time. You've taken the first step by learning these teachings, and now it's about continuing to walk the path, step by step, moment by moment. Throughout this journey, we've discussed how the mind can be both a source of great peace and great suffering. The Buddhist teachings show us that we have the power to choose. We can choose to hold on to anger, to let resentment cloud our minds, or we can choose to let go. We can choose to allow fear to control our actions, or we can choose to act with confidence, grounded in the wisdom of impermanence. As you continue your journey, remember that life will always present challenges. You will face moments of difficulty, moments of doubt, and moments when the old habits of your mind want to take over. But remember this: you have everything you need within you to handle whatever comes your way. The peace you seek is not out there in the world, it is within you. And by continuing to practice these teachings, you will uncover that peace more and more each day. Now, let's take a moment to reflect on how far you've come. At the beginning of this video, you may have felt overwhelmed by life's challenges. Perhaps you felt lost, uncertain of how to find peace in the chaos. But now, as you look back, do you see the changes you've already made? Do you notice the quieter moments of clarity, the space between your thoughts, the calm in the storm? This is the power of Buddhism. It shows us that true peace comes from within. It teaches us to stop searching for happiness outside ourselves, to stop grasping at things that are fleeting, and to instead turn inward, where peace is waiting for us all along. As we come to the end of this video, I want you to remember one thing: the journey does not end here. The path of wisdom and peace is a lifelong practice. Every day is a new opportunity to deepen your understanding, to let go of what no longer serves you, and to live with greater compassion for yourself and others. This is a journey that will continue as long as you live, and each step you take will bring you closer to the true peace you are seeking. And now, as we conclude, I invite you to reflect on these words. May you be happy. May you be free from suffering. May you live with ease. These words are a simple prayer, a wish for your well-being, your happiness, and your peace. Carry them with you as you move forward in life. Let them guide you when you feel lost, when the world feels overwhelming, or when your mind is filled with confusion. Wisdom Woven has shared with you some of the most profound teachings of Buddhism, but the true power lies not in simply knowing them, but in living them. So, I encourage you, take these teachings with you and weave them into the fabric of your life. Every thought, every action, every word you speak, let them be infused with the wisdom of Buddhism. Remember, you are not alone on this journey. Millions of others have walked this path before you, and they continue to walk beside you. The wisdom of the Buddha is a timeless light that has guided countless beings toward peace. Now, it is your turn to carry that light forward, in your own way, in your own time. And as you walk this path, stay mindful, stay present, live with compassion, and remember, the journey is just as important as the destination. I want to thank you for taking the time to join us on this journey. You have made the decision to change, to grow, and to embrace the wisdom of Buddhism. That in itself is a powerful step. If you found value in these teachings, please consider liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing to Wisdom Woven. Your support helps us reach more people and share these transformative teachings with the world. We would love to hear about your journey. Drop your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Thank you for being part of this journey. May you walk forward with wisdom, peace, and love.